Hey guys, welcome to DracuQuest, a podcast starring us, where we will talk about every single Dracula movie ever made. We will talk about a Dracula movie once every 2 weeks, either until we run out of Dracula movies or until we die. It is a blood oath. It is a life pact. If one of us dies, then their last words have to be picking the person who replaces them, and that person has to do it.
And that's an original idea for a podcast.
And if you don't, those aren't your last words.
I think we'll call it "Till Death Do Us Dracula."
Yeah, "Till Death Do Us Dracula." That's the one.
That's pretty good.
Also, Harrison's parents just adopted me, and so now we're brothers. So now we're brothers.
Yeah, so we can call him my brother in Dracula.
Yeah, that's the
one. Am I the Dracula in this scenario?
Yeah, you're the Dracula.
What am I?
That's wonderful.
You're the hand.
You're the hand, obviously.
Yeah, you're the hand.
Oh, okay, all right.
So let's introduce ourselves. Hi, should we introduce ourselves first, or should we do more explaining about what the podcast is first?
I don't know. We're doing Dracula. We're talking about Dracula.
Let's explain the show so people can turn it off if they don't like it.
Yeah, kill us.
We will talk about a new Dracula movie every 2 weeks.
So if you're not okay with that, then maybe step back.
Maybe go die, maybe. We will be spoiling the movie, obviously. So if you don't want to be spoiled for Zoltan, Hound of Dracula, for
I can't wait for that one.
Maybe don't listen to the episode.
We'll do a non-spoiler segment at the beginning.
At the end of every episode, we will announce the next episode's movie. So if you want to participate with us on DracuQuest, you have those 2 weeks to watch that movie.
Please do.
Be warned, you might have to pirate some of these. I don't think Zoltan, Hound of Dracula is available on any legitimate services. It's pretty obscure.
Lost media.
Yeah.
But,
Lost Hound.
Yeah, let's go. I'm Harrison.
What's your spirit Dracula, Harrison?
Came up with my spirit Dracula.
Yeah.
Is your mom. I came up with Dracula. I didn't come up with Dracula. I came up with DracuQuest.
Dracula, wow.
You were that.
I came up with DracuQuest almost 2 years ago. Not quite 2 years ago. It might be 2 years ago by the time this episode comes out. Where I started watching every Dracula movie. I study film, so that's my
your credential.
That's my credentials. I have worked on exactly one feature film set, so yes. I know all about the movies. I know all about them. But yeah, I've watched 80 Dracula movies so far, which is about 3 years worth of podcast. So I'm excited to rewatch all of them. Okay, someone else go now.
I don't want to go second. I usually go second. Someone else take it.
Me. Hi, I'm Sophiá. I don't know how to introduce myself. I don't watch movies, so I'm kind of a sleeper pick.
Sophia's sort of our wild card.
No, yeah. I guess I'll do a fun fact about me. I am physically in the podcast, so if you don't listen, at the moment, I do die and I do stop to exist. So watch all the episodes, please.
Yeah, you have to binge this show constantly, and you have to recommend it to your friends and your family. Because if anyone isn't listening to this at any point, Sophiá dies, and then she is born again when somebody else listens in the most painful way possible.
It's kind of like you, the viewer, are Dracula.
Her bones and her blood fused together and reconstituted is horrific. So make sure that somebody in the world is listening to this at all times, so that she never has to be born.
It's like my life support.
So she never has to die and be reborn.
That's not our responsibility either. That's up to you guys.
It's up to you guys. We could have we've called all the scientists, the military has tried to get her out. There's nothing they can do about it.
They don't have enough dedicated wham to keep watching it, so you guys got to do it.
Oh, good one, dude.
Deep cut there.
Deep cut.
I'm Ethan Bradbury.
As Dracula would say.
Ethan Bradbury. What the fuck was that one?
It's my soundboard.
Okay. I'm Hello Merio, or just Merio. Just call me Merio, please.
Hello.
I do watch films. I like them most of the time. Some of the time, and
never seen a movie you didn't like. Real Matt Ramos over here.
I try watching them, but sometimes it's a little hard. And I make theme park videos on YouTube, so I thought the next logical step in that career was to join a Dracula themed podcast. So here I am.
Yeah.
All right, especially after they built that roller coaster right
August
through
is like our theater guy. August is like, he knows about the craft and like the hard work and emotion that goes into acting.
I'm August, and I study drama. That's my credential. I have seen a few Dracula movies, and I have listened to the Bauhaus song probably like 3 or 4 times. And so I think I'm pretty strapped to talk about Dracula. I'm not scared of monsters that much, so I can watch the movies. Some people can't because they're too scared of monsters. I don't believe Dracula is real, but if he was, that would be okay too. Yeah, and
I'd kiss him.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Just a little peck on the forehead.
I walk through spider webs sometimes too, so I like that about him. That's me.
Way to spoil it. Jeez.
So let's announce our movie.
The movie of today is
the audience what movie we're watching.
So this week we're going to be talking about the classic. We're going to be talking about Dracula. Dead and Loving It.
Dracula, Dead and Loving It. The Mel Brooks classic. Sort of the seminal Dracula, really the movie that everyone thinks about when they hear the word Dracula, is Mel Brooks's Dracula, Dead and Loving It.
Cue the music.
From 1999, I want to say.
I'm going to tell you right now. Starring Leslie Nielsen, Mel Brooks, from December 1995. Music by the funniest named man of all time, Hummy Man, adapted from
what? Hummy Man,
adapted from Dracula, box office 10.7 million, distributed by Warner Bros. Yeah, Dracula by Bram Stoker, in case you were wondering.
Yeah. So, this is a movie I've seen 3 times. Mel Brooks's Dracula, Dead and Loving It. First time I watched it, kind of hated it. Second time I watched it was with a group of friends, and I was like, this is the funniest movie ever made. This is just so good. Third time I watched it, maybe the worst movie ever made. Pretty awful. It was really a crucible. That's for sure.
No,
it kind of reminded me of
the Crucible,
of the life commitment that we've made. That we have to do this until we die.
And the blood out.
So,
this really is Blart pod, whatever it's called. You know what
It's a lot like Till Death Do Us Blart, except it is possible for us to run out of Dracula movies. I don't think it's going to happen. There's so many of them, but it's possible that we'll run out eventually.
So many Draculas.
Well, when that happens, we have to move on to Frankenstein.
Yeah, and then we have to move on to Wolfman,
Frankenstein's dog,
Mudman.
Yeah, Frankenstein's dog,
and Harry Potter,
and the Mummy's son.
No.
And then Sherlock Holmes.
Why is Harry Potter the next logical step after Frankenstein's dog?
Because the big Haggard is a monster.
Because it's like Harry Potter is sort of like Frankenstein, and like the creator is the real monster.
Yeah. Holy shit! That's fucking.
Get those registers bumping because that's cash. Okay.
That's money. What are some other initial thoughts? I said what my initial thoughts were.
I've seen the movie twice. I saw it. I think my first time was your second time.
Yes.
I was pacing around my dorm room on COVID lockdown, going, and I thought, I was like, this is all right. This is pretty funny. And then last night I watched it again with my girlfriend. I was like, this is not good at all. This is a bad movie. It was like this has this. There was one thing that really made me laugh. Actually, there were a few things that really made me laugh, but not because of the movie. It wasn't there. I'm not giving them the props. But it was like I really couldn't stop looking at like the high school theater Romeo and Juliet sets. Like I was loving that part.
I will say, I kind of like the sets. I'll be honest.
I do. No, I'm saying I do. I like a.
Okay. It reminds me of like the old Dracula where they have these like theater sets.
And my girlfriend pointed something out, which is that she was like, I bet they really wanted Rick Mayall to play Renfield, which I think they did. I feel like that part was not written for that
Rick
guy.
Mayall?
He did Alan Bastard, that character. He's like the very classic, like very English comedian.
I don't
I know this
any
guy.
of the things you're saying.
I know this guy. I don't think I've seen anything that he's in, but I do recognize him.
But regardless, Renfield guy is the
I
worst
like the
part
guy
of
who plays
sometimes.
Renfield. I guess we'll
Not
get into him
always.
more later. But that guy, he was in Addams Family Values. He's good at playing sort of goofy characters like that.
No, he went off with his fucking little voice.
Any more initial thoughts?
Well, it was my first time watching. First of all, I think any Dracula movie ever, and definitely
welcome.
first time watching this movie.
This is sort of the seminal Dracula movie. So.
No, yeah, this is the beginning of my corruption arc. I will never be the same at this podcast. I don't know. I think, it was funny. I think I liked a lot of parts of it. Unironically, I think it is a very funny movie sometimes.
That is embarrassing.
I'm sorry.
Look, there are good moments.
It's yeah, I enjoy this. I don't know what to call this type of humor. It's bad. It's bad humor, and I enjoy it.
That's fair.
That's my experience. That's my wrap up.
It's a bit of a shame, the classic Dracula movie. I wasn't a huge fan of it. It wasn't like. Yeah, the one that really got.
Yeah, Dracula really took off in 1995 with the release of Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Mm-hmm. That's why we're talking about it. The first one.
It's like Sherlock Holmes and Benedict Cumberbatch.
But I mean, like at first, like the first 5-10 minutes, I was like, okay, I think this might be good, and then it wasn't. It wasn't really. Well, I liked the
you like
first
the Buster
like 5-10 minutes.
You're into the Buster Scruggs.
I don't know. It was just I was like, okay, these are like some silly little characters. I like them all, and not all of them, maybe, but like I was like, okay, I can do this. And then as soon as the Chin Lady appeared, and like the first time I was like, okay, that's pretty funny, and then the third time I was like, oh
funny?
No. The first time.
Wait, hold that. We're getting to it. We're not into scene one yet.
Okay.
We get the
I'm just letting you know the point where it all went wrong.
So let's begin with our yeah, go ahead, Augur.
No, I was gonna say I kind of agree with something, but I'll get to it when we talk about the first scene.
Yeah, let's begin with our scene by scene recap of Mel Brooks' Dracula Dead and Loving It. Mel Brooks, by the way, you might know for Young Frankenstein,
from being a really funny, talented guy,
and the producers. Yeah, he's made like 3 out of 6 or 7 good movies, so he's pretty good. That's a better track record than Francis Ford Coppola, who's like one of the most well-regarded directors of all time. So I just say good for him.
Young Frankenstein rocks so hard, and that just makes this even sadder.
I know. Maybe we can get into that at the end a little bit, but yeah. So let's start with the scene-by-scene recap. Before we begin, though, I will say that I have a laugh counter that I will be listing off as we go. I decided to count my laughs. That's really the only notes I took for this movie, except for making sure I remember what the scenes are. However, I had to rename my laugh counter because the number of laughs during this movie was 0. I changed it. I changed it to a smile counter, and I will have you know this movie got 8 smiles out of me.
I did a very similar thing. So I also said I did a laugh counter, but it turned out I only had 1 counted laugh. So I changed it into a nose breathe counter, and I got 6 of those. So
you got how many?
6 nose breathes and 1 laugh.
Okay, so fully on record, I think if I watched this movie alone, I would have been in much the same boat. But I was giddy with the company of person. And so I probably had like 6 genuine laughs in this movie.
Oh, come
I had-
on.
But
That's touching.
I'll explain to you where they are. But
Sure.
But like, and some of them were just like, holy shit, that was one of the worst delivered lines I've ever seen. Like that was one of the most fumbled joke bags. Like, oh my god. I'll get to that one. That's specific, and it's near the end.
Okay. So let's start then.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Scene. Should we introduce it like in Dracula voice?
Scene one.
The carriage ride to the town.
Yeah, so you got Renfield. It starts out like every Dracula movie. You got Renfield. He's going to the town on the way to Dracula's castle, and this was actually my first smile. Was when
Already.
they're in the carriage and they're getting jostled around, and the one guy says, "Oh, the sunset is coming. The sun is going down," and then the driver looks out the sunset and he goes, "Oh!"
No.
And that made me smile.
That was pretty good.
That was my first and only laugh when he looked at the sun and just went, "Woo!" And that was it.
I don't think I laughed yet because I was still like, oh my god, is this movie palatable? But when the carriage did its super clear like springboard rock up and down, I was like, that's funny. It's really stupid looking. There was a cut to the carriage where it was literally like one of those dragon or pirate ship rides at the fair. It just went like far left, far right.
I don't think we said, by the way, that this is a comedy movie. I don't think we ever mentioned that.
It is.
Because not all Dracula movies are comedy movies, but I assume when we said Mel Brooks and Dracula Dead and Loving It is the title, and talking about laughs, the audience probably knows that it's a comedy, but we should just like
we'll do
make it
scares. The other one.
It tries to be a comedy.
How many? That's true. That's a good point.
Baby, woo!
That's a good idea, I guess. For the other movies, we should
We'll do
put
scream
up our
counters.
how many a blanket over the eyes counter.
The other thing about this first scene is it comes right after a sort of classic, like, we're doing a parody, subversive, scary classic intro, where it's sort of like
The book.
terrifying images of a book of like, oh my god, look at these sexy lady vampires and the bat with a human face, shit like that.
Why did
The bat is so good.
I didn't get that part. Like, what was it? Just like the actual Dracula imagery, and then it was a spoof for the rest of the movie. I was like, I didn't know what to expect.
That is okay. I think that is a problem with this movie. Is parts of it do take itself seriously.
Yeah,
Like when they fight Dracula at the end, it's serious for a bit, and like the dance between
the dance
with
the first
Dracula
dance.
and Nina.
Oh my god, I'm so
like
kind
kind of serious.
We'll get to it, but that was
We'll get
Let's
to
get
it.
to it, yeah.
that was
But that definitely
such
is
a
a
missed
problem with this movie.
opportunity.
It's like it doesn't know when to be a parody and when to not be, which it should just be a parody. It's a parody movie. It shouldn't take itself so seriously, but because
Right.
Leslie Nielsen is not very good as a scary Dracula.
No, but he's kind of, and sometimes he's good as a funny Dracula. But
He is good.
I don't-
I do like Leslie Nielsen in the role. He's funny.
I like.
God,
we're not
I-
okay, so we get to the town, and then the guy I like Walrus guy in the town. I thought he was
Yeah,
fun.
so Renfield gets to town. There's a guy who looks like
Mustache.
Walrus.
who goes like.
Stop doing what you're doing. Why do they do that?
Don't go to Dracula's castle.
He's pretty good. And then Chin Lady was so fucking obnoxious.
God.
There's a lady who
Like an old
talks to
witch.
Renfield, and she grabs her long, dripping chin and wiggles it and goes, "Go to Dracula's castle," and she does it like 8 billion times. They run it into the ground. It's so
And then
bad.
Let me
she,
just
like,
tell
sells
you,
him
it's funny
across.
every time.
It's funny.
I liked it the first time. It wasn't a laugh or a nose breathe, but I liked it the first time, and then the third time I was like, okay, all right.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. She
Oh,
does it,
okay,
like,
okay.
so many times.
I skipped over my second laugh.
Oh.
When Walrus guy he hears that Renfield's going to Dracula's castle, and he says, "Oh no no no!" That made me laugh, or maybe smile, not laugh.
Smile.
But yeah,
That was pretty good. Yeah, that's an alright scene until she comes along.
yeah.
And
For
Ruins
about
it
half
all.
of it.
it's really like when he sort of turns the corner. There's that moment that's supposed to be a joke. The first like shitty joke with the cabbie with the carriage driver. Oh no, I'm continuing on to the castle. I know. Throws the bags at him.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Like,
so Sophia found that funny.
and he does the okay. Actually, this is another counter that's worth having. Is the classic Dracula line counter because he goes, "I go no further," and then rides off.
You can't have all these counters.
But there's too many counters. Yeah, too many counters. I also
getting a
don't know
headache.
every classic Dracula line, probably.
No, but if anyone does, you do.
That's true.
So is this the end of this scene? What's next?
So next, Renfield goes to the castle.
Spooky doors.
He meets
spooky
Dracula,
doors.
and they do a hilarious spoof of Dracula's big butt hair from the 90s Dracula movie with Gary Oldman, the one where he has the big butt hair, where Dracula comes out and he's got this big butt hair, but then he takes it off. It's a hat, and that's
that is
fun.
pretty good. I like that.
Yeah.
I kind of do like that.
I did
That was my first nose breath, and I just wrote down on my notes Dracula butt hair removal. So
Oh, nice.
We also, you forgot the hilarious.
That's my new business, is Dracula butt hair removal.
yeah,
The bit that comes back one more time, which is his horrible sex pest shadow.
God.
yeah.
that shows up to like go and spook Renfield and like grab his ass, and then he turns around at Dracula just in time to see Dracula like trip on guano after saying "Children of the Night."
That was my third smile.
I like
when
that.
Dracula trips on bad shit and tumbles down the stairs.
He goes, "Children of the
think-
night, such a mess they make," and then he just fucking does a dump.
That is a good line.
The weird throat shaking girl bit was when I realized, oh, this movie sucks. The batshit slip scene was when I realized, oh, this is peak, huh? Fuck.
Also, that must have been Leslie Nielsen that
That
did
is a
the
good
fall,
scene.
right? Or no, it wasn't. No, because they did a cut to the foot. It was a stunt double. I would have loved if that was Leslie Nielsen.
If they just
Threw him
pushed
in the
Leslie
stairs.
Nielsen down a bunch of stairs.
He did like a triple forward flip and landed on like his back.
The Sex Pet Shadow is the worst character in the entire movie. Ruined
It's so
scenes.
terrible. It's so awful. We'll get to it more later, though.
Yeah.
Let me check really got quickly before Renfield goes insane. What's your opinion on British Renfield? I love him personally.
I think he's fine. I think the actor is better at playing that Renfield than Master Renfield.
There's
I,
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say like it seems like they're like setting him up as like the main character, and then he just fucks off the rest of the movie.
No, yeah.
Okay, well that's
exactly.
what happens in the first like 1930s
No, yeah.
Dracula movie. So they're just doing the plot of Dracula.
Yeah,
That's not really the fault of this movie.
it makes sense, but it's just like weird. I'm just like, oh yeah, he's still here.
Just so I give him the Renfield respect, it's Peter McNichol is his name.
Peter McNichol, yes.
And he is
Yeah,
68
he's
years
good.
old.
He does the Renfield laugh later, the classic Renfield laugh, and he's very
That
good
is
at
good.
it.
That is good.
He's good at it.
Renfield is there to make like a business deal, right? With Dracula.
He's there to sell him
Right?
the Abbey, Carfax Abbey. Every time they say Carfax Abbey, I keep thinking of the Carfax from the Carfax ads.
No, yeah, that's why I was so confused. I was like, are they dealing with insurance right now? Like, is this the plot of the movie? Dracula's signing an insurance deal?
Well, get ready to think that like every movie, because Carfax Abbey is in all of them.
Really? Oh, okay.
That's
It's
that's
just named
Dracula's
that?
home. Yeah, he lives in Carfax Abbey.
It's such a
That's where he
stupid
lives.
name.
So this is my first Dracula movie. Dracula movie.
Dracula, Vlad Dracula.
I've never I don't know like the traditions they need to do for each
The
movie.
mythos.
I just thought of another
Yeah.
counter.
No.
August, is this good Romanian representation? Counter. Yes, it is. Okay, so what happened?
So
If we're talking about the Carfax scene, we got to talk about when Renfield like cuts his fingers somehow, and it just starts
Yeah.
splurting
No, with the
blood for
spiderweb.
about 5 minutes.
Spiderweb first.
Oh shit!
August, we don't have to talk about every single joke in the
Okay.
movie, okay?
But there's just a side thing. There's a terrible drawn out bit where he gets stuck in like Dracula goes through a spiderweb because he's Dracula, and then Renfield like gets stuck in it for like 45 seconds, and it's not funny for 1 second, so it's very, very sluggish.
I do think
One thing that is
the web looks satisfying.
Yeah.
I want to get in it.
That's
What
fair.
the hell?
So
It looks
after that,
fun.
there is a
It's good
bit.
to be in.
I didn't smile for it, but I do think it's funny in an intellectual sense. Like I can appreciate the bit is when there's a classic scene in every Dracula movie where Renfield cuts himself shaving, and Dracula's like, "Oh, blood!" Well, in this, Renfield gets a paper cut, and he cuts an artery, and like blood splurts everywhere. It's like that scene in Always Sunny where they want to get a bucket of Frank's blood, and they like cut an artery twice, and blood splurts everywhere. It's like that.
It's pretty good
there's
deadpan as
blood.
well from Renfield.
There's just blood everywhere, and Renfield is completely deadpan about it. He's like, "Oh, I'm so terribly sorry. Oh," and
He's like getting everywhere too. By the way, it's like getting on the papers that he's gonna give to the dealer.
I almost smiled because it's the worst punchline they could have possibly
What is
done.
the punchline? I don't remember it.
Dracula looks at the blood and goes,
Oh, he licks his lips, yeah.
he licks his
he's like-
lips.
he pats this and he goes like, it's really
Yeah.
weird.
He goes, it's so, there's like no joke. He just makes a funny face. And
Yeah,
he's
it just
otherwise-
ends.
It just ends.
And then the next scene is the first scene I would cut if I was the editor for this movie.
Is this your
Oh, the
second
40
count?
women
Is
Draculas?
this your next counter? The scenes you would cut?
Scenes I would cut, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I'm the counter guy for this show. I'm running all these. I'm kind of a numbers guy. I'm
He's
seeing
sort of
like,
the
Rain
numbers
Man,
guy.
seeing
He's
the Rain
punching
Man
holes in
imagery.
calculators.
I'm looking at Wall Street right now. I'm seeing all these things floating by. But yeah, this next scene fucking blows because it's so boring.
Mm.
It's
Yeah, the
it's Renfield in his bedfield and two bodacious babes come
Oh,
and like do nothing
yeah.
for 2 minutes. They like
Yeah,
grind.
this is
Yeah, they
You know
they
what?
have to parody the Brides of Dracula. So these two bodacious babes come in and they flirt with Renfield and they rub their boobs all over the furniture.
And he goes, "What are you doing to the furniture?"
It would have been funny if he stayed like that. If he stayed indignant the whole time, it would have been funny. If he's like, "Oh,
Right,
don't
eventually
do
got
that!
into
What
it.
are you doing? This is insane! What is this?" Like he didn't know what sex was, because that's what I thought they were doing at first.
That would have been good.
But then, like halfway through, he's like, "Oh, oh."
Yeah, then he just starts spouting
and then it's not
nonsense.
funny. Then it's not
Um,
funny anymore.
The good bit in this scene, though, actually, there's one good thing, which you guys might think is stupid, but I liked, which was, so then Dracula comes in and goes like, "Ladies, what are you doing?" Or that's not how he talks. He goes, "Get out of here." And they go to sort of glide out, like they started gliding in, and he goes, "And stop that!" And they just walk out like Snoopy, and I kind of
Oh, yeah.
like that.
I didn't like that, but one thing that I thought was funny is Dracula says, "Do you think this makes me proud of you?" Which I
Did he?
yeah,
yeah,
says
he
that.
did.
That's a good line. I feel I missed that. Yeah, and then he comes in,
That's
he
a
goes,
good line.
"Leave, I need to make Renfield my slave."
He does say that, yeah. And then he bites Renfield, and he makes Renfield a slave.
No, he
What's the
doesn't bite him.
line?
He hypnotizes him.
Yeah, he
with his big
hypnotizes him.
eyes.
What's the line he says about rats and bugs? Do you guys
I don't remember. He says,
Does
"I
he
will
say-
give
You'll
you
eat them."
lives, not big lives, but little lives, like rats and bugs." That's just from Dracula, though. Like Dracula just does that traditionally.
I don't know. He says something, but and then we're on the boat. Oh no, then he says, "Protect my coffin," because I gotta go to England. And then we're on our way to like the only proper slapstick scene in this fucking movie.
Yeah, so they're on their way to England, and Dracula's coffin is getting knocked around the ship.
goes,
It's not
"Oh!"
funny. It's almost funny because it's slapstick, but it's not, sadly. Not really much to talk about there. They go to the opera, where I get... So
Oh god, the
after that, so
man joke.
typically, usually in these movies, Dracula sees a picture of Renfield or Harker, depending on who's at the castle, sees a picture of their girlfriend Mina. And so he's like, "Oh, Mina, oh." But that doesn't happen in this movie. He just like somehow knows that he has to seek out Mina. Don't really know why, but he goes to the opera where Mina is, and I get my fourth smile. So a little bit of setup. Dracula is hypnotizing this lady, and this like worker at the opera, and he's like, "You will go tell Professor Seward or Dr. Seward there is a message for him in the lobby from Count Dracula. And she's like, okay. And then he says, and you will not remember anything. So then she goes over and she opens the curtain, and Dr. Stewart, played by the great Harvey Korman from the Carol Burnett show, and she opens the curtain and she just stands there because she forgot everything, and that got a smile out of me.
Whoa!
She just stands there and makes a certain funny face, and I was like, "That's comedy. That's comedy." Yeah.
Oh, that's comedy.
That didn't quite get me, but when when Dracula like moves on in and he's like, okay, fine, I'll just do it myself. And he's just talking about like the woman's neck, like it's just a very specific part. I forget what it was, but it's like, you have a very nice whatever the part is. And
Necus
she just
no, it's like,
yeah.
You have a very nice coronet artery, or not a heart. He goes like, he says like, a very nice
very nice fibulus ribulus.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's the ribulus, and she just responds with "thank you" as if it's normal, and that was a nose breathe. Like I don't know, like she's into him. Yeah, that's my type of comedy.
Why was there no opera music in the background of the scene? I didn't like it.
That's true. They're sitting there watching the opera, and it's completely silent.
And not a single person with. Did any of them have opera glasses, or did they? I don't think they did.
I think they did at the end of the scene. They resumed to
not the beginning. I thought
glasses. At the beginning, maybe. Well, I think it was the end of the scene.
Seward doesn't mention his thing once in this scene, which is unusual.
We'll get to the classic Seward bit in a little bit.
Yes.
If you were familiar with Dracula movies, we should talk about who these characters are, because sometimes Seward is one of Lucy's suitors. Not in this one. He is an old man who is Mina's father, and Lucy is his ward. And sometimes that's the thing in Dracula movies. Sometimes it's more true to the source material. But yeah, that's the characters. Old man Seward, who runs a mental hospital. He runs a mental institution, sanitarium. There is Mina, his daughter, Harker, her fiance, who they do a great bit with. Lovely bit about like
being engaged for 5 years.
Ironic. It's not a lovely bit about how they're engaged for 5 years and have never touched each other. This movie is like a weird, lots of sex jokes in it that are kind of uncomfortable. I'm not totally against sex jokes, but they don't work in this movie. But yeah, so there's them, and then there's his ward, Lucy, sweet Lucy, who dies.
That's basically every character.
And then Renfield, who we discussed. But yeah,
Dracula explained.
So after that scene, we have Lucy undressing herself for Dracula, which is really creepy. And then she goes to bed, and then Dracula sucks her blood. Does anything funny happen in there at all?
Yep.
The bat transformation.
The bat transformation.
Oh, the bat! Someone talk about the bat.
So there's Spawn level CGI as Dracula looks across the sort of courtyard between Carfax Abbey and the asylum where they also live, and he does a Jesus Christ pose and looks really stern, and then he turns into a bat with Dracula face, with Dracula human face, and that's
Dracula face.
It's pretty funny.
It's a bat with a big what's that guy's name? Leslie Nielsen face on it. And she shuts the window and he slams into it. And he goes, oh, ow, youch, something like that. He makes a youchy face.
And the two guys show up and it's like, whatever.
And he sucks her blood or whatever.
My third nose breathe was the straw noise when he was drinking her blood. It was a little funny. Just a
really? That's so beautiful. You're like a toddler. That's so childish.
I have the shittiest ones.
It's good that we have Merio here. It's good.
Yeah. Sophia, did you laugh at the straw noise?
No, I think I fell off my chair laughing when he hit the window, though.
Really? No way.
I thought
that's worse than the straw noise.
It's so fucking stupid when he's on the ceiling hiding and Harker and whatever his name is about to leave, and he goes, "I'll slam the door nice and tight just to make sure no one gets in." And Dracula goes, "What?" And then he
No, please don't do that. I'm hiding on the roof.
And then he fucking slaps it. Dracula just hits the floor really hard. That was kind of
Sophia,
funny.
I love your childlike glee at this movie.
Oh my god, that was pretty good. I'll be honest. And then
I hate how they spell out every single joke.
every joke, every single one.
It can't just be that he shuts the door really hard and Dracula falls from the ceiling. He has to say, "I'd better shut this door nice and tight," and then Dracula looks straight at the camera and says, "What?"
He raises his eyebrows like, oh, you know what that means?
He's like,
I mean,
does
this
a big
scene-
cartoon gulp noise.
This scene gets a lot of minus points on my minus points count. Because
No, crap.
Oh my god.
because what's his fucking name? Drunkfield and Sewer. When they come in, they just talk about nothing for 2 minutes. It goes on for so long. It's like, can we just fucking hurry this along, guys?
They do. They're like, let's check under the pillows. Let's check under the chair. Let's check behind the curtains.
This movie's like less
For
than
like
90
2
minutes. It felt like a billion years.
So after that, after Dracula sucks her blood, she gets sick, and they're like, "Oh no, we've got to call Van Helsing." And then we get maybe the worst joke in the movie. It's so unfunny.
Which one?
Van Helsing's autopsy.
That's
where
not the worst joke. But I do remember
it's pretty unfunny.
the first time I watched it with you, I remember how much you panned that.
It's so unfunny. So Van Helsing is doing an autopsy for a bunch of students, and the whole joke is that he's trying to gross them out so they all pass out. I guess so he doesn't have to work. They don't explain that. I don't know why he's doing this.
Yeah, the nurse comes in
That's
at the end and goes, "Oh, well done, 10 for 10." And he's like, "What?"
Yeah, maybe he's just doing it to impress that nurse, dirty old man. But yeah, so the whole joke is that he pulls out like an intestine and it freaks them out, except they never show any of it. Like, they show a little bit of intestine, but the rest, it's just not gross is the thing.
No, it just looks
Like, if you were looking at it, it's not gross. He's like, "I'm going to cut an incision," and then half the class passes out. Like, it's not gross. And then at the end, what really ruins the scene ruins the scene is there's this one last student who's like, "I didn't pass out, Professor." And Van Helsing pulls out a giant cartoon hammer. And it looks like he's about to hit the kid with the giant cartoon hammer, which would be perfect. That would be a perfect way to end the scene. But instead he just uses it to crack the skull and pulls the brain out, and it makes the kid pass out. It's the exact same bit that they've been doing for the past 5 minutes. Why didn't he hit the kid with the giant cartoon hammer?
It's so good, actually. I didn't even think about that. That would have been fucking hilarious. But that's that, and then it zooms out and you see them all on the floor, and it's like, yep, they're all on the floor.
Yeah,
we saw them all.
Yep, that's comedy.
That's comedy. That's
Van Helsing is played by Mel Brooks, by the way, doing maybe the worst German accent. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, Mel Brooks, and looking kind of fucked up. I don't know. He's not as endearing as normal.
He looks so old and decaying and decrepit.
And I feel like he looks younger today than he looked in this movie.
I
mean, he's pretty old in Spaceballs, right? He looks like 90 years older than he is in Spaceballs.
Yeah, exactly. So then, yeah, the nurse comes in, bad bit. What is the next
After that
scene?
is August's favorite scene.
What scene?
Then we get, isn't it?
Oh, is it
The dog eating?
Is it the
Yeah, we
sleeping?
skipped over
It's the daymare.
before the fucking
Oh.
killing everybody with a intestine scene. It goes back to Renfield in the mental institution.
Oh, is that the Seward scene?
That's
Seward and
when-
Renfield?
Yeah, and that's when he meets. Yeah.
Oh, I
That's
forgot
when he
about
meets-
that.
I like that
You're right.
scene. That's a
Yeah,
pretty
the
funny
buggy.
scene.
I forgot about that scene.
Yeah,
Pretty
that happens
stupid,
just
but-
before the one we just talked about.
Okay, well, yeah. So Renfield goes
Okay.
to. He gets called out of his chambers by Dr. Seward, by the big boss, the mental
He's
institution.
in there because Dracula killed like every crew member on the boat, right? And he got
Yeah.
framed for it, basically.
and- yeah, Renfield's the only survivor, so they think Renfield must have something to do with that. Let's put him in the
I
same
think
category.
I'm
now
stunned.
explain that.
I think I'll start with the first mate.
Yeah.
But Renfield goes to fancy lunch with Dr. Seward, and it's all going very well. And then he eats a bunch of bugs in front of him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then this is where we're introduced to the great Dr. Seward recurring bit, where for probably 4 out of 5 of the scenes that Dr. Seward is in, he talks about an enema, He loves enemas, this guy. So when we're first introduced to Dr. Stewart at this lunch, there's this guy telling him, like, oh, this patient's acting weird. And Dr. Stewart's like, give him an enema. And he's saying, oh, this other patient's acting weird. Give him an enema. And at the end, when they drag Renfield away, he's like, give him an enema. No, wait.
2 enemas.
2 enemas.
And here's a question.
Can I be honest?
For everyone.
Can I be honest? That was my 5th smile.
Oh, the enema?
No.
Oh my god.
Specifically the 2 enemas?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Wonderful.
I don't think an enema is the worst thing in the world.
No, I think it sounds quite refreshing, in fact.
I think he's ostensibly saying, give that boy a personal bidet situation. Like,
he's saying douche him up is basically all he's saying.
And maybe that's the joke, but I don't really.
I think the joke is that it's like old timey science and he doesn't know what he's doing. I think that's the joke. I'm not sure though. That's a good sign in a comedy, by the way, when you can't tell what the joke is.
You can't tell what the joke is.
Oh, wonderful.
Anyway, so we're 2 scenes ahead of that. Bugs, and then then we're here. Then we're at the greatest scene in the movie that is not that good after you've seen it. It's only good in retrospect.
No,
I don't know why you ever thought it was good.
I
think it was good. Pretty terrible joke.
I was so disappointed by how that line was delivered because I remembered it so much better, and it's such a bad delivery. Come on, Leslie.
So what August is referencing is that someone else should explain it. August and I have done a lot of this hockey.
Yeah,
I'll do it. Okay. Dracula. It cuts after meeting Van Helsing. It cuts to Dracula waking up in his coffin, and it's daytime, and the sun's shining right on him, but he isn't burning. And he gets really happy, and he leaves, and he's running around, he's frolicking through the meadows, and there's a bunch of people having picnics. People are kissing. It's beautiful. It's just a harmonious scene.
It's a little tender and a little touching, honestly.
Look, Renfield.
No, yeah, I did tear up because it shows that Dracula truly isn't evil. He just wants to hang out.
He just wants to chill.
Yeah, and he walks up to a couple and says, "May I have some food?" And they give him some chicken and wine, and he's drinking it and he's having a great time. And
let me cut in really quick. So one of Dracula's famous lines is, "I don't drink wine," which is a reference to the fact that he drinks blood. But here he says, "I don't drink wine." Ah, what the hell? And then he drinks the wine. Not funny, but I thought I would. Also, okay, well, someone thought it was funny.
The chicken. He eats chicken.
Vampires can't eat food, right? Like they that's like
typically no, they can't.
Yeah.
Typically,
so he eats it. He's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead, Sophia.
Then after he eats some chicken and wine and announces that he's eating... no. Renfield walks in and he's really scared because he's in the sun. And Dracula proudly announces, I'm eating chicken and drinking wine. And the funniest was I heard of my life. And Renfield's freaking out because he's not supposed to be in the sun. And then he starts burning. Now Dracula is now burning in the sun. He's smoldering up. Renfield's like, no, look at yourself, no!
Maybe I do like this Renfield. Actually, now that you reminded me of him, I gotta do it. It's pretty good.
And then Dracula tries to run away, but for some reason he's on ice or something. So he's running in place while he's burning on fire. And then he wakes up in his coffin, still running. And
what's the punchline to all that?
Yeah, what's the punchline?
He looks around, his mouth agape, and he closes it and he says, I was having a daymare.
And he no. That was way better than how he does it.
Really? Oh, thank you.
It's literally like,
how does he say it?
Like that's just a funny kind of conceptual line. Like it's just stupid and funny. But he goes like, I was having a daymare. Like that's it. It's like that's it.
I'm rewatching it right now. He goes, a daymare. That's it.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's so bad. Why would you ruin that?
Insane scene.
Daymare is like already like the most low-hanging fruit for a joke. It's like a child write that. But it could work. It could work if he was like, I was having a daymare, and like looks at the camera and winks.
Yeah, that's how we quote it. But it's not that at all.
we do. August and I do quote this movie way more than we should for a movie that sucks this bad.
For a movie that I've seen, like, I don't even think I saw the whole thing because my internet was fucked up the first time. So that's
like, I do feel like this Dracula actor, who I forget the name of already, like a lot of lines are butchered. Like some jokes like should be funny, but and this isn't like exclusively him, but like, you know, if we're talking about rating a Dracula, like I don't know, like he ruined so many of the jokes that like could have been funny. I don't know. Like and some lines are good.
I
like
liked
some lines
him.
That
I liked him. I thought
funny.
he did a good Bela Lugosi impersonation. I thought he made a lot of funny faces. I thought he was funny as Dracula.
I
thought he was all right. I don't know.
It's like the opposite of like Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, to reference Death Lord again, where you've got like maybe a competent movie with like the most hateable, awful main character of all time in it. This is like a nice Dracula, a nice funny Dracula in the most abysmal movie that's ever been made.
It's the Dracula, you know.
It's
I don't know.
Dracula.
It's the Dracula.
What can I say? It's Dracula.
So
after that, after the Dracula's daymare, Van Helsing visits Lucy, discovers that she's a vampire, in a pretty serious scene, not a lot of comedy there. There's a joke that's really kind of okay, where he's like, there's 3 puncture wounds on her neck. And
rubs his
so it's like
magnifying
3
glass.
puncture wounds, and then he cleans his glasses and he says, 2 puncture wounds. Which I didn't smile at, but again, intellectually, I can appreciate the joke.
Yeah,
so
he just kind of talks. Mel Brooks just kind of like does his German thing, and he's like,
yeah,
they keep repeating. They keep saying that he's it's like he is a philosopher and a theologian as well as a medical doctor. Like that's the big thing they keep going back to.
Yeah, there's not a lot of jokes. He just does a funny German voice. Not even funny. I think he thinks it's funny. But yeah, they do that. They put up a bunch of garlic around Lucy because he's like, we have a vampire. We have to put up a bunch of garlic. So they put up a bunch of garlic.
Just so much
Dracula
garlic.
breaks out Renfield out of the jail. There's nothing funny happens there.
Upside down bit. Terrible upside down bit.
Terrible.
0 bats.
Oh. Well, I before that, Dracula does try to break into her room, and he just kind of like has the power to unlock the lock. I don't know if you noticed that he stares at the lock through the window.
Yeah, he's telekinetic.
And
that's the Dracula.
And it just kind of unlocks.
Wait,
yeah,
really? Why does he have to hypnotize the person later in the movie?
I don't know. I just think it's funny that like,
later in the movie, Dracula has to hypnotize Mina to get her to leave the room because the door is locked. So what? What if he could just
cinema
Dracula
Ding.
So Dracula breaks Renfield out of the sanitarium. Renfield takes down the garlic. They do another terrible sex joke where Renfield looks under her skirt. And
that was insane.
People walk in, they drag away Renfield and put him back in the asylum. And Renfield's like, I didn't see anything. And
I
then
saw
he says
everything.
I saw everything, which is really terrible, awful.
I didn't think that was
joke.
funny at all.
It's not. Yeah, it's not funny. It's a weird, uncomfortable bit about it. Renfield spying on a sleeping woman.
Wasn't her bed on the other side of the house? What, didn't the bed switch sides?
I don't know. After that, Dracula, I guess he didn't need to do that in the first place because he can just hypnotize her and make her come out, and then he kills her. He sucks her blood and kills her.
My fourth nosebreed was what?
Nosebreed?
I'm sorry.
Don't mind if I do.
Yes.
But my fourth nose breath was when Renfield jumped down the jail and he landed and he was like,
really?
ouch.
You left at that?
But then they kept going. They kept being like, you were supposed to go down the drain pipe.
I can
and he's
fly.
like, oh
you
yeah,
can't.
the drain pipe. Yeah,
they do stretch
kept
out.
going.
They just every joke just keeps going and going.
Harrison, this is why the cast of the show is very good.
So let's just breeze through this plot because nothing funny happens for a while.
We're maybe halfway through.
Oh, Jesus.
And nothing funny happens until, well, I'll tell you when I get to my next smile. So Van Helsing's like, oh my god, Lucy has been turned into a vampire. You have to kill her. And Seward's like, no.
You got to kill my daughter. Don't do it.
He's not a vampire.
No. So he's like, we gotta stake her hard. And he's like, no, don't disturb my ward's corpse. So he and Harker decide to go disturb the corpse anyway.
Oh, God, here it comes.
And they discover Lucy, and there's more sex jokes.
I
There's
did
an
like
okay joke. Are you about to do the British one?
Oh, what? Oh, no. I didn't think that was that funny at all. I just thought it was funny when she initially approached him and she's like, oh, help me. I'm so cold. I'm so cold.
Like she's dying. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah. And then it goes
I do
into
love
the
frail,
seduction.
dying creatures. And I know you
Yeah.
do too.
Oh.
Before he goes to see Mina, Dracula does walk into the group and like he just kind of talks to them and then leaves, and then everyone's like, "Oh, he's definitely the vampire."
Oh, we can't skip
we
that.
The last word
we
book.
can't
The last
skip
word bit.
The last word bit. That's the
Which one?
worst
Okay.
bit in the entire movie.
Harrison, I like it.
You can't keep
Harrison,
saying
I
that.
like it. I like that bit.
Did
Harrison.
you like that bit?
I
So,
like that bit.
Why don't you explain it then?
So, like Van Helsing, they're like, you are such a studied, learned man. And he starts speaking like Aramaic or some shit, or like old. What is it? Old.
Starts speaking
Old-
Dracula.
like,
Yeah,
they just
like
call it
Yeah,
like
this
the
is
old
Dracula
language, I
tongue.
think.
And he's
That's
going
what I thought
like
it was.
he's going like just complete gibberish. And then Dracula shows up, and they know each other somehow. Like Van Helsing.
No. He's heard of Vlad the Impaler, and so he knows that Dracula is related to Vlad the Impaler.
No, and Dracula knows Van. He's like, a name I know, even in Transylvania. Like they're like they have some recognition. And then ostensibly what happens is they have a battle of the wits in their ancient language.
That's one way to describe it.
And I
Very
think,
witful battle.
like
They just speak gibberish at each other. Let me
Van
cut this
Helsing
short. They
says
just
about
speak
Dracula.
gibberish at each other.
Van Helsing goes, you always have to have the last word. And Dracula goes, no, I don't. Like Van Helsing goes, and then does the same thing. And then Dracula leaves. And as he's closing the door, goes, and then Van Helsing's really pissed off. And he's like, such an asshole, such a ponce. And then he goes up to open the door and see him leaving and goes, and he's like, ha, I did it. And they keep talking, him and Seward. And then Dracula passes by the window and goes,
It's important to know what Van Helsing says because he does it later. He says "Fusta."
That's what he says.
God.
He says "Fusta."
Okay, yeah, and then that bit is left to rest for a while. Let to rest.
It's a
But
terrible
anyway,
bit, August. I can't believe they just speak gibberish at each other.
I thought it was all right. I thought it was all right up until he passed the window. Like I think passing the window, I think that was a bit too much. Okay.
But back to the Lucy attack.
It wasn't a
Going
nose
to
breath.
rest. Back
Yeah,
to the dead woman.
So they defeat Harker's about to get seductively killed by Lucy, and then Helsing shows up and goes blah, and like attacks her and kills her, and she retreats to her crypt. And then this coming up here is my worst joke of the movie. Worst joke of the movie counter.
Wait, the blood bit?
No, the blood bit,
that was
blood bit I was okay with.
Great.
So here, someone else talk about the blood bit.
Okay, so this was my which smile was this? This is my 7th smile.
This is my fifth.
My
fifth
6th smile.
nosebleed.
Sorry, this is my 6th smile. Was when Harker plunges the stake into Lucy's heart, and just so much blood comes out.
So much,
Just so much blood. He just gets
SNL
drenched in blood.
acupuncture skit levels of blood.
It's the only gore in the entire movie, and it's great slapstick, very Evil Dead-esque. I enjoyed it.
I thought it was even funny the second time, and I honestly wish he did it a third time. And I know that's absurd,
No, I agree.
was like,
Comedy comes in threes. He should have done it more.
I said during that, I said comedy comes in threes, expecting a third one. Didn't fucking happen. But anyway,
I thought it was gonna like happen on accident, or like there was some way you could have fit a third one in there.
The worst joke in the movie for me is after that, when Van Helsing comes back out like, haha, I didn't get blood on me. And he goes, oh, what's wrong with her? What's happened to her? And he goes, what is it? It's like, she's dead. She's most certainly not dead. Then what is she? She's undead. What? She is Nosferatu. She's Italian?
Oh,
and then the earth stands still for 10 seconds as we all sit there and marvel at the worst delivery of any line, comedic or otherwise, I've seen in a while. That she's Italian. I felt nothing. I felt like it took emotion away from me, that line. That was not a good line, and the Harker didn't do it well.
After that, we're almost to the end. Dracula. Who the fuck cares? Dracula.
He goes for the other woman, right?
Something about Dracula. Yeah, he goes for Mina, and this is my next smile, which is when he hypnotizes the maid. He's trying to hypnotize Mina, but he hypnotizes the maid by accident. And then he hypnotizes Mina, so they're both hypnotized. And he's like, you sit down, you come to the door. So Mina sits down and the maid comes to the door. And he's like, no, both. It's stupid, but I enjoy it.
No, yeah, that was good.
That was one of the better bits, yeah.
Oh god, we still have to do the fucking ball. Oh no. And the first
So then he hypnotizes Mina, he gets Mina to come with him, and they do a dance, and it's completely serious. There's no comedy until the shadow bit, which we'll get to.
But it's like a goofy dance and nothing. Yeah, oh my god, the shadow bit.
It's not even a goofy dance. It's just
not
a
goofy
dance.
It's just a dance. I think they were expecting the audience to be. I think they were expecting the audience to be like, "Oh, this is a cool dance," but that's not what you're coming to a comedy movie for. Let alone a Mel Brooks parody.
Also, it's not a cool dance.
It's also not. It's not cool. It's Leslie Nielsen. He's like 80 years old.
I disagree with everything. I thought the dance was really freaking cool for some reason, and then the fucking the freaking.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was like, this is a really weirdly all right scene because they're just dancing and there's music in the background.
What?
Sophiá is the target audience for this movie.
I am. That's why I'm a strange choice for this podcast. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of fun because I don't hate this. I was like, wow, that's all right. And then
that's fine. That's fine. It's good. First of all, it's good to have differing opinions, and second of all, not all of the movies we're watching because they're bad. So, like,
Harrison, you have chosen an incredible group for this show.
Yeah.
You're gonna watch Nosferatu and just be like, whatever.
I will see, but
where was
like
the
I said,
dance?
This scene's really, really all right. And I was thinking like, oh, okay, I don't know why they're playing this completely straight a comedy movie. I will agree that it shouldn't be in a comedy movie. I don't know why it's there. It's just a scene. And then the sex shadow comes back and it's like humping her in the shadow.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yeah. The shadow starts dry humping her.
That is the only joke in there. And my theory is that like the actress just knew how to dance and they're like, well, let's take advantage of that. And I like that is the only reason. Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, it's not like it's bad, but it's like, why is this in this movie? And then why is there a second one later that we'll get to?
My note here for the scene, because I was trying to list all the scenes so I don't forget them, is Dracula and Mina dance so long. So
it is long.
The next scene I have listed is Mina sexy.
Because being a Dracula makes you into a harlot, apparently.
Yeah, so Dracula bites her neck, and then all of a sudden she wants to have sex with this man she's been engaged to for 5 years, and they try to like spoof like Victorian standards. So he's like, "Oh, we can't do this. We've only been engaged for 5 years. I can't touch you." But it's not funny. It's awkward.
Yeah, the thing about this
because there's a lot of boob jokes and a lot of butt jokes, and it's not funny.
And they're not funny. They're not funny. Doesn't
It's
matter
not
what the
funny.
jokes are because they're not funny.
You guys remember when Kramer was on the Letterman show apologizing for that time he said the N-word, and Seinfeld said, "It's not funny." You guys remember that?
When Dracula came out?
Was that real? Did you do that?
Then
Yeah,
Dracula
that's a real
came
story.
out.
That's a real story.
When Dracula came out and he
That was
said,
Dracula.
it's not funny.
It's not. Your fucking Dracula voice is so good.
That is because I am Dracula.
My friends
Everything
who I-
has passed away.
No, my friends who I have shown the Dracula Christmas song to, every reaction is, "Oh my god, that's such a good Dracula voice."
That should be our end song. That should be the song that plays after the show is over.
Anyway, digression aside. Yeah, so sexy Mina, then Mr. Sewer comes in and goes, "Harker, you fucking dick! You're touching my girl, my little girl!" And he sort of gets pissed
And
at
then
Harker, and nothing happens.
You're going too slow. Van Helsing discovers that she's a vampire, so
Yes.
they decide to hold a big ball to lure Dracula and Renfield because they're not sure which one is the vampire. And this ball is going to be their trap because they're going to lower a curtain, and whoever doesn't have a reflection, well, they know that's the vampire.
Oh no, you
So-
forgot the hilarious scene where he goes, "Do you have books about folklore?" Or sorry, it's, "Do you have books about folklore?" And Sewer's like, "Yes." And he's like, "Do you have the Draculas of Transylvania?" "No." "Do you have vampires in the mist?" "No." "What about Nosferatu?" "Ah, yes, that just came in this morning." And that's the joke.
What is their
Great
thing
joke.
with Nosferatu? What is it? I don't get it.
Nosferatu, it's just it's supposed to be like a word that means vampire.
I know, yeah. Oh, okay. Is that the bit? That they're like, oh, do you have vampire? No. Do you have different word for vampire? Oh, yes. Is that the bit?
Oh, no, the joke is just that they name a bunch of books.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
good.
okay.
That's
Yeah.
it. You're giving this movie too many props.
I don't know why you had to like point that out. You're just like, we can't skip this.
Yeah,
We
again,
can't.
we don't have to talk about every single joke in the movie.
Sorry, I'm a completionist of
Um,
Dracula Dead and Loving.
So
Yeah,
they go
come
to
on.
the ball. Dracula dances with Mina.
Ooh.
They pull the curtain down, and they see that he doesn't have a reflection. And then for some reason, they
Everyone's
continue to let
freaked.
him dance with her for 5 minutes,
Bad
so they
music
can do a
bed.
bit where they show a reflection, and she's like spinning around, and there's no Dracula there. But one thing in the scene that kind of infuriates me, and this is a minor nitpick. You guys probably didn't notice this, but Dracula turns to the band and he says, "Play the car dash."
Yes, dude, yes.
And they're like, "Yes, we'll play the car dash." And then they don't play the car dash. They play
Oh.
Brahms' Hungarian Dance Number 5, which is not the
Nice.
car dash.
I was gonna say the music bit could have been
Or
so much
the
better.
char dash, however you pronounce it.
Oh god, it was annoying. But yeah,
Uh,
and Renfield jumps out a window, right? Oh, no, Dracula jumps out a window.
No, Dracula jumps out a window.
and
He
Renfield
realizes he doesn't have a reflection, so he picks up Mina and he jumps out a window. What were you going to say, Merio?
The sixth and final nose breathe was the slow mo when he jumped out the window. I just thought it was funny.
Really?
There was
That's
a
not
single
even-
slow. It was a
That's not even
single
supposed to be
slow mo
funny.
shot, just kind of in there, and I was like, okay, dude. I don't know. Thought it was a little funny.
So we're here at the climax of the movie. They trick Renfield by letting him go, and then Renfield's like, I'll lose them. I know they're going to try to follow
Oh,
me
it
to
sucks
where
so
Dracula
bad.
is. I'll lose them. And then he
Oh,
runs in
God.
like 4 feet, and then he
In a
keeps
circle.
going. He's like,
He, just-
lost
he
them.
walks
And he keeps
around the
going.
garden.
And it's not very funny. It's like a 5-minute scene of him walking around the garden, and
It's so
then he
bad.
runs off, and they follow him, and they follow him to Dracula, and they fight Dracula, and we finally get to my 8th and final smile, which is where Dracula grabs Harker by the throat, and he lifts him up, and because Dracula's about to suck Mina's blood, Harker and Seward and the other guy, Van Helsing, are trying to stop him. Dracula
The
grabs
other
Harker
guy.
by the throat and lifts him up, and he says, do you really think there is anything you can do to stop me?" And Harker ponders on it for a moment,
God, it's so
and then
bad.
he pokes him in the eyes like a Three Stooge.
and it makes
Yeah,
the
that
Three
Stooges
smile out
noise.
of me.
I wrote down Three Stooges bit.
Yeah, there should have been more slapstick, really. That's
And
the best
Harker
part of
goes,
the movie.
"It's the Three Stooges chili crawl." And they go to Chili's. That's the bit.
Yeah, and then Dracula dies. They open a bunch of wooden panels and let the sunlight in, and they kill him. I don't know what else you want from me.
No,
yeah.
Renfield
I
kills
don't know what
him.
you expect.
Renfield
Really.
kills him. accidentally.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Renfield kills him by accident. I forgot about that.
But
Oh God.
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go. I'm just thinking about the bat face.
Okay. Well, I was writing notes for this film, and the final note I have is about this scene, and I just wrote down big steamy Dracula. Big steamy Dracula.
Good
And
lord.
in parentheses, I put big steamy Batula. And I don't know.
Oh, I'll tell you what.
I don't know what I was trying to get there, but
The bit at the end where he's turned to dust and Renfield comes in and picks up his dust and bones and goes, "Oh no!" And then he takes his pointer finger and he makes a little smiley face in the dust and says, "Look, you look just like you used to." Did get a girlfriend laugh, which sparked a giggle from me. So I want to say
That reminds me, they do like
It's
this
alright.
weird like the end of a stage play where
Yes!
everyone gets like their single line before they walk off.
So
They do that. So first it's Harker and Mina where they're like, "Oh, we can be together at last," and they kiss each other and they leave. And then Seward and Renfield get their last line before they walk off. All of this is like in a single long shot. Where
Yeah,
Renfield draws the face, and there's a cut in for that. But other than that, it's all a single long shot. And Renfield is like, or a long take, not a long shot.
Like, Master, no.
Sorry. But he's like, "Oh, Master, no." I don't know why he sounds like Dracula now. But he's like,
Oh,
"Oh,
Master.
Master, no."
Oh God.
And then Seward shows up and he's like, "You're a free man, Renfield. You don't have to work for a master anymore." And Renfield's like, "Really? Wow, cool." And then Seward's like, "Now come, Renfield." And then Renfield says, "Yes, master." And then the two of them walk off. And then it's just Van Helsing in the room, still in this long take. And Van Helsing walks up and he opens the coffin where Dracula's ashes remain. And he says, "Fusta!" And then he leaves.
Oh wow.
You know, I'm okay with that part.
I hate that bit.
Oh, that's the end.
Look, Sophia
Um,
loved this movie, and even she doesn't like that bit.
The last word bit was so bad it didn't even register in my brain.
Just missed it totally.
Completely missed it until we started talking about it.
So, my question to everyone is, how many bats?
Oh God, we do have to out of
We-
how many
we already
bats?
we talked about the bits that worked and the bits that flarked, and now we're going to talk about how many bats. Harrison, you do out of 5, don't you? Or
No,
10.
out of 10.
You do 10, don't you?
Out of 10 bats.
We should probably continue the out of 10 bats.
Sophia, can you go first? I'm curious. I just
Yeah.
want to know.
Bad
Just
idea.
rip the Band-Aid. Just rip the
Yeah,
Band-Aid,
we should
please.
go in, our order should be who we think liked the movie most to who we think liked it least.
I'm gonna be first every time. Okay, honestly,
I'm so excited for this.
fuck. Okay, a light 8 out of 10 bats.
Oh my god.
10? No way!
Right.
Have you-
Right.
Get over yourself! Get over it!
It's so good.
You understand? That's only 2 bats away from the best movie you've ever seen.
Yeah, what's
you know what? Yeah.
what's your favorite movie?
Oh God, I already answered that.
What's a movie you like? What's a movie you really like?
Wait, wasn't it Speed Racer?
Yeah, Speed Racer 2008.
That's fine. Speed Racer's good. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like
Good
that
movie.
a clean 8.5.
Yeah,
Oh my
it's
god.
good. Yeah. A light 8, so it's like it's mostly it's just barely getting there. Right, back off.
Oh my
I'm still normal. I still have taste.
That means it's a heavy 7.
Yeah. Baby.
All right,
Just
August,
really
what's your
big
ranking?
7.
All right, move on.
I'm gonna try and translate my letterboxed one. So I'm gonna give this a sharp and clean 3.7 bats. out of 10 bats.
No, it has to be a whole number.
Oh,
You
fine.
can't split the bat.
Fine, I guess I'll give it 4 bats. Fine.
Yeah, don't chop that bat in half.
4 bats just because
That's gross.
it was not a painful watch. There I don't know. It was fine. there were
I
parts
dare
that
say it was a pleasurable one.
What the hell?
were- all right. Could someone speak? Someone speak their bats.
I also gave it a 4 bats. That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got to say.
Last time I watched this, I gave it 5 bats.
Damn.
Guys, this was hard. This
One
was
bat?
difficult.
Is it gonna be one bat?
Wow.
I think I have to give it 3 bats.
Okay.
Except,
Wow.
unfortunately, I cannot, because for the sake of the ranking, when we watch more movies, we do all have to agree on a single score.
Oh.
So I think we should round up and do 7.
Look, I was between 3 and 4, as you heard. So,
Sophia, what's the lowest you're willing to go?
Like a 5.
Okay, I can live with that.
yeah, I can live
with 5.
the
bats.
collective.
Come on.
Okay.
It wasn't egregious. We found joy in it. It's a beautiful 5.
We did find
bats.
some joy in it. That's
The
true.
monolith decrees Dracula dead and loving it. 5 out of 10 bats.
Woo!
What about what would you rank the Dracula? What would you rank
Oh.
Oh man.
Leslie Nielsen's Dracula?
We didn't mention that the hair bit comes back at the ball.
It does.
so nice.
It does. When he goes to the ball, he wears the goofy butt hair, and then he takes it off, and he's like, "Can you take my hat?" And the lady looks at him like really weird. I think it would be funnier if she acted like it was completely normal.
It would.
Like if she just took it and left.
As far as this Dracula goes, I'm happy giving him like a 7 or 8 out of 10. Like I like this Dracula.
Yeah, I liked him. I thought he was a good Dracula. I would say 7 bats for him. He was
Besides like
funny.
some line
He
delivery
made funny
being botched.
faces.
Yeah. Besides some lines being botched, he was very enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
So this is almost a recommendation. With a 5 out of 10 bats
So
and a 7 out of 10 Dracs, this is it's a recommendation.
What about you, Mary? What do you? I know you didn't like Leslie Nielsen's Dracula quite as much.
Yeah, you bastard.
He's about on par with the movie as a whole for me. I gave him a
Oh,
4 out of 10
Lord.
bats. Yeah.
Good lord. Good
Right.
lord.
Whoa.
We could just split the difference between 4 and 7 and say 5.5 rounded up to 6 bats.
Damn. 5
Nice.
5 bats and 6 Dracula bats.
Sure, Leslie.
5 bats,
6
5
Dracula
bats, 6
is
Dracs.
fair.
6 Dracs.
So stupid.
Are we-
Well, you
are-
heard it here, guys. Thank you for listening to our review for this
Yay!
movie, which hopefully you've already watched. Hopefully you heard us say Dracula Dead and Loving It, and you're like, oh, gotta go watch that movie.
Gotta
Turned
go
off the
watch it.
podcast to watch the movie and came back.
Apologies to everybody who was spoiled in this review. We apologize.
I've got to go.
But
eat
yeah,
some
you heard it here
bugs.
first. 5 bats, 6 Dracs for Dracula Dead and Loving It. Mel Brooks'
And-
classic.
For
We have 2 more things to do, though.
yes. First
We got to
thing,
name the next movie.
in 2
What was the
weeks.
second thing? Oh, I remember the second. I was outvoted. I want the second thing.
Oh yeah, I remember
We'll,
this.
we'll get. I'll introduce
get
it.
to it.
I'll introduce it.
Before that,
Okay.
express disclaimer. Harrison did not want to do this at all.
In 2 weeks, we will be
It's a
watching
stupid
every
bit.
Hotel Transylvania
It's a boring
movie.
bit.
No.
It's a boring
No,
bit.
no.
But yeah, so we were thinking for next week, next episode, either Nosferatu or like the original Dracula, because those are like classic Dracula movies. What do you guys think?
I mean, as much as I would love to do every Hotel Transylvania movie, I like Nosferatu. I like a bit of
I think-
House.
I think Hotel Transylvania. Wow, Hotel Transylvania movies should be at some point because those are beautiful.
Oh, they're
Of
coming.
course.
They're
I mean,
coming.
we have to
Next
watch-
episode.
We have to watch every Dracula movie, so you
No, yeah,
don't even
that's
bother saying like, "Oh, we have to do this movie eventually." Yes, we do have to, or
No,
we will
yeah.
die, or Dracula will kill us.
God, yeah. I still have the mark in my hand.
What is this last bit?
Shake hands with Dracula.
Didn't I invent this last bit that we're doing? What
Do
is
you
this?
not
No,
remember
I-
the last
It
bit?
was Merio, but you agreed to it, so it's your
But
fault.
yeah, so August says Nosferatu. What do you guys say?
I say Nosferatu.
Okay,
I say no,
Sure.
Nosferatu.
I say
I
yes,
like
Ferratu.
Nosferatu. So next week we will be next 2 weeks, next episode. Hopefully 2 weeks from whenever this episode comes out, but I can't be sure. We'll see how things go. We will be talking about the silent film Nosferatu, which I believe is on YouTube, so that should be an easy one to find.
Yeah, I mean, that's like over 100 years old now, isn't it?
I won't have to
I think
legally
so,
watch
yeah.
it again. Give it this one.
Almost as old as me.
Okay, what is this last bit?
Oh, one thing I forgot to mention
Oh.
is that these movies do stack. So every time we watch a new movie, we have to watch all the other movies right before it.
Oh, okay.
Oh
So-
yeah.
Okay.
So right now,
gotcha.
for this one, we're gonna have to watch Dracula the Dead and Living and then Nosferatu. When we get to 80
I'll watch
Dracula
the
movies, we're gonna have to
full
watch all 80 Dracula movies
in a row.
In a
quite the
row.
You
undertaking.
can't stop.
In
yeah.
a row.
No sleeping.
No sleeping, no
Dracula will
eating.
bite you if you
no
don't do it. So
pooping.
fucking do it.
Mhm.
Oh.
You gotta do it the Dracula way. You can't drink wine. You can't eat chicken. All that.
So, Merio, what's this final bit I keep hearing all about?
Yeah!
What is? I've forgotten what this
Yeah.
is.
Well, I recommend. I don't even think August you noticed it. I know a fellow member of the server, Gabe, saw it and said he liked it. So this
Oh.
I was trying to come up with an idea for a recurring bit for the podcast, and what I came up with was Dracula of the Week.
Oh yes.
And we are going to
Don't explain the
make
bit.
up-
Just tell us what your Dracula
Okay.
No, explain it.
Oh,
I remember this.
oh, am I in charge? Am I in charge of making the Dracula of the Week?
Yeah.
This
you're
is
our
your,
first
it was your
Dracula.
idea. It is your beautiful creation for this week.
Are we
Hmm.
agreeing on it? Are we? Is it about the movie, or is it
No,
just
yeah,
how
we're-
No.
We're doing
how we're
this every time.
feeling? Is it just an emotional thing?
It's
No, one
It's-
person does it a week. So this week it's
No,
me.
yeah,
Yeah.
one.
we just rotate, and I should have thought of one now that I think of it.
Oh, come
but,
on! Are you serious?
Okay, but now it was my last note on the movie, so let's start out this Dracula of Week with a real good one, Big Steamy Batula. So
Hi, Big
Oh,
Steve
yeah.
Batula.
that's the
Thank you.
Dracula of the
So
Week this
so
week.
what the? It's just a word with Eula at the end. It's not a bit. It's not a
It
joke.
really is. It really is. That's
Wait,
it.
Will you
That's the bit.
will you cut to the outro song right there with you saying it's just a word with you? Cut.
No, I'll do it right then after you said that.
Okay.
I saw my brides kissing Santa Claus underneath a bed last night. They didn't see me creep to catch a sneaky peek. They thought that I was tucked up in my sarcophagus fast asleep. Then I saw my bride suckle Santa Claus underneath his beard so snowy white. Oh, what a laugh it would have been if Frankenstein had only seen my bride's kissing Santa Claus last night. It's true! I really did see it!